I was one of the people that really loved the first Shazam movie. I thought it was a fun, charming superhero family film that I've seen in a long time. And was familiar with the Shazam character from the Superman animated series. I've seen him cross paths in the DC animated films, including the game called Injustice Gods Among Us. And I did my research on the Shazam mythos from the comic books. And I knew a little bit about that character. And when I found out that they were going to bring the Shazam character to life to the big screen, I was super excited. Then finding out that Zachary Levi was cast as Shazam, I was on board 100% all the way. I thought he was the perfect fit to play a character who is 14-year-old but is in an adult body and has all the power of the gods. And this is about Billy Batson, who is a 14-year-old kid who's been bouncing through foster homes, and he doesn't want anything to be a part of that family. And he's one day the wizard have granted him the powers to Shazam and become the world's champion, who is a pure of heart. And I thought it was a great way to start off with some of the DC film. And I thought it was awesome. I adore the first Shazam movie. I adore the family dynamic of the whole, the Shazam family. I thought it was so well done. It was a fun, charming superhero film, and I wish that more people had gone to see the first movie. It performed well at the box office, but but the box office did not live up to their expectations. But critics and audiences really enjoyed it, and I wish more people have gone out to see it. But going into Shazam: Fury of the Gods, before we knew who was going to be in it, I was really hoping that we were going to get Black Adam in the sequel. I mean, I knew that we were going to get a solo Black Adam movie with Dwayne Johnson because his project has been on hold for over a decade, and it took them a long time to get this thing greenlit. And I was one of the people that was on board with Dwayne Johnson being Black Adam, being the arch nemesis from Shazam. And I was just hoping that after a solo movie that he would show up in the sequel, but unfortunately they didn't allow that. And the reports that we've been hearing recently, it doesn't seem like that Dwayne Johnson didn't want to have anything to be a part of with Shazam. He wanted to go off and do his own thing in his own solo movie, which is unfortunate, and it was a missed opportunity. But now going back to the Shazam 2, now we know that the villains are going to be the Daughters of Atlas, which it was going to be an interesting change of pace. Seeing Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu being cast as the Daughter of Atlas was a great choice, which I thought those two actresses are incredible. And these are the Daughters of Atlas who are so angry that the powers of Shazam was stolen from them, from their family, and they want to take their vengeance upon the world. And that's what the plot it is in Fury of the Gods. And we're seeing David S. Sandberg returning to direct it, which I was so excited for his return because I thought what he did with the first one was great. And I was on board. I was 100% in. And then going into the trailers, I thought it was pretty good. And I was super excited. And there has been a lot of like setbacks and delays going on with the whole drama, with the whole DC, the regime change at WB. But it didn't matter. I was still excited to go into this movie. Regardless of what I've heard about the mixed reviews, I was still going to go in with an open mind and have a good time. And after coming out of this movie, I will say I thought it was pretty solid. I thought it was a pretty good follow-up to the first Shazam movie. Now look, do I think that this movie is great? No. Do I think it has problems? Yes. But thought there were a lot of redeemable qualities in the movie? Yes. Because I thought Zachary Levi continues to crush it as Shazam. And I thought that the family dynamic continued to grow. Even though I kind of wish that they had more of them in the movie, I feel like they didn't get enough of them. But I thought some of the action scenes was pretty solid. It was a fun movie. And I thought Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu were great in the film. Now, look, let me get this out of the way with the whole criticisms. I thought the problems I have with the film is that I wish that they would have matured Billy Batson and the characters more in the sequel, because it's been like at least 2 to 3 years since after the events of the first one, and Billy Batson is already becoming 17, and they kind of made him more childish in this movie this time around than he did in the first one. Now look, the first movie was exceptional because it was a 14-year-old kid who was still trying to find his way in the world, and he hasn't found his footing yet until the end of the film, where now he takes responsibility being the hero and now joining the whole family dynamic. But in this one, I kind of feel like they dumbered him down a little bit in this film and made him way too goofy and way more childish, which was unfortunate. I wish they would have matured him a little bit more because he's about to become an adult. But other than and I thought that the villain's motivation with the Daughters of Atlas were kind of boring and very average into something that we've seen before. Even though I thought Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren were great, and the fight scenes between Helen Mirren's character and Shazam was pretty cool to watch. I just wish there were a little bit more. And the thing that was missing in the film is that there weren't enough of the whole family drama with the whole Shazam family and the foster parents. And I thought that the foster parents, Billy Batson's foster parents, were kind of sidelined in the movie. They didn't get enough screen time in the film. And I wish that they would have used, and I still enjoyed, as much as I do enjoy seeing the Shazam family dynamic, I just wish there was more of them in the film. I wish they had more to do, if that makes any sense. But, and there was a couple of scenes that really turned me off, especially with the one product placement, the Skittles product placement. It really bugged me a lot. It was so badly handled. It was so poorly executed that, like, why did they do this? Seriously. And I will say that the redeemable quality was in the third act when Shazam goes up against the Daughter of Atlas. I thought it was pretty cool to watch. But and another criticism that I forgot to mention was Rachel Zegler's character, who was the third Daughter of Atlas. The love story between her and Freddy was not working for me. I mean, the chemistry was fine, but I felt like that the love story was kind of forced and shoehorned in, and it doesn't feel like it was quite needed. But look, overall, I was still had a good time watching Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I think that you should go out and see it. I know that right now that the box office is now tanking, and not everybody is bothered to go see it. Maybe it's because now that the DCU is going to get reset from James Gunn, and it's probably not going to matter. But I still think you should watch it anyway and still have a good time. If you're someone who really enjoyed the first Shazam movie, I think you'll like it. Even though the movie is not as great as the first movie, it's still a fun film to watch. It's way better than Quantum Mania. It's way better than Thor: Love and Thunder. It's a way better movie. But you know what? It is what it is. And I've seen people in my theater, even though it wasn't as packed as I was hoping for, they had a good time watching it. I've seen a couple of people laugh. I had people were having fun with it. And also, we already know what the mid-credits scene is. I still think you should stick around and watch it, even though we already know what the post-credit is, because now it's public knowledge. Everybody knows what's in the film. And to let you guys know that this movie was filmed years ago, long before this whole regime of WB took over, long before the DC studios were created and it was taken over by James Gunn and Peter Safran. James Gunn literally had nothing to do with the film. I know some people still believe that he had some hands-on about that film, which he did not. These remaining DC films, like Fury of the Gods, like The Flash and Aquaman 2 and Blue Beetle, these were the 4 remaining old regime of DC films. The true DC reset is going to be the Flash movie, which I'm super excited. I cannot wait because everybody's raving about the Flash film. But you should give the Shazam! Fury of the Gods a chance. I think you'll really like this film. I know it's not going to be made for everybody, but I think you should go with an open mind, and I think you might have fun. And I don't know what the future is going to hold with the character Shazam. Now, look, if you really like my review, hit the like button. And if you have seen Shazam! Fury of the Gods, what did you think of the film? Did you enjoy it more than most people, or were you disappointed by it? Just jump down in the comment section below and leave me your thoughts. I would really like to hear it. And if you want to see more of my videos on my TikTok, you should give me a follow.